What is up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome to Beansworthy Entertainment, and welcome to part 2 of the Sunday games for Week 11 of the 2023 NFL season. We've got the afternoon and the Sunday night football game for you in this video, and I'm just a guy behind a camera saying what I think is going to happen. I'm based on what I've seen this season and the statistics that we are about to go over. With that being said, I hope that you enjoy the video, and if you do, hit that like button. And please check out the other videos that I have on my channel. I've got playlists that I've made, and it's pretty easy to go through. I've got a bunch of different type of content for kind of anybody and everybody. But if you want to become part of the Beansworthy Entertainment family, hit that subscribe button and hit that notification bell so you can get notifications when I go live over on YouTube. Be kind and respectful to others, and most of all, be kind and respectful to yourself. You are the number one person in this world. Nobody matters more than you do. Keep going, and you're not allowed to give up. Let's go ahead and get into this game. Sorry, my brain just kind of paused there for a second. But I got this pulled up for us just like normal. And here in this first game, we have the Tampa Bay Buccaneers that are going to San Francisco to take on the 49ers. The Buccaneers are number 19 on the NFL.com power rankings list with a 4-5 record. They are 2-2 on the road and second in the NFC South. The San Francisco 49ers, they are number 5 on the NFL.com power rankings list with a 6-3 record. They are 3-1 at home and first in the NFC West. As usual, we're going to go over the numbers and let's get into the offense. For the Buccaneers, they have 306.7 total yards per game, 228.6 passing yards per game, and 78.1 rushing yards per game. They have 17 touchdowns, 14 receiving, and 3 rushing. The offensive line has only allowed 16 sacks this year, which is tied for 4th in the league. They have a QBR of 93.4 and 19.8 points per game. Turnover-wise, the Buccaneers offense has 5 interceptions and 3 fumbles. And their stat leaders, we have Baker Mayfield, Rachaad White, and Mike Evans. Baker has 197 completions on 305 attempts, 2,143 yards, 14 touchdowns, and 5 interceptions. Rachaad White has 132 carries, 429 yards, and 3 touchdowns. Mike Evans has 43 catches, 737 yards, and 6 touchdowns this year. Going over to the 49ers, we have 383.3 total yards per game, 248.7 passing yards per game, and 134.7 rushing yards per game. Top 10 in all categories. 30 touchdowns have been scored by them, 15 receiving and 15 rushing, only 16 sacks allowed, also tied for 4th. Best quarterback rating in the league with 109.4 and tied for 3rd in the league with 28 points per game. Excuse me, everybody. Sorry about that. Their turnovers, they have 5 interceptions and 4 fumbles on offense. Their stat leaders, we got Brock Purdy, CMC, and Brandon Ayuk. Purdy, he's got 172 completions on 250 attempts, 2,329 yards, 15 touchdowns, and 5 interceptions. CMC has 153 carries, 747 yards, and 9 touchdowns. Brandon Ayuk has 38 catches, 675 yards, and 3 touchdowns. If I'm going to go ahead and pick one, obviously, I'm going to go with the 49ers. They had a little bit of hiccup there for a couple of weeks, but it seems like they're back to full force. Deebo Samuel must have been the missing link because Deebo Samuel came back and they are just doing amazing. Let's move on to the defense. For the Buccaneers, they allow 354.1 total yards per game, 266.9 passing yards per game, and 87.2 rushing yards per game. They've allowed 17 touchdowns this year, 13 receiving, and 4 rushing. They have 19.2 points per game allowed, which is 8th in the league, 91.9 quarterback rating allowed, and 25 sacks. They also have 8 interceptions and 8 fumbles on defense. One of those interceptions has been recovered for a touchdown. Going over to the 49ers defense, they allow 304.6 total yards per game, 221.4 passing yards per game, 83.1 rushing yards per game. So, not too good, or they're middle of the road with the passing game, but 5th overall and 4th for rushing defense. They've allowed 14 touchdowns, 10 receiving, and 4 rushing. They are tied for 2nd in the league with 15.9 points per game allowed, and 5th in the league with 77.7 quarterback rating allowed. They're tied for 19th in the league, though, with only 23 sacks. Turnover-wise, the Niners have 13 interceptions and 4 fumbles. Both these teams have a turnover differential of +8. And the Buccaneers kicker is 17 for 19 on field goals, a perfect 15 for 15 for extra points, and 7.3 points per game from his foot. The 49ers kicker has 14 for 17, is 14 for 17 on his field goals, and a perfect 30 for 30 on extra points. So he has 8 points per game. Moving downward, let's go ahead and go over the schedules. And in this one, we have the Buccaneers that have had statistically the harder schedule than the 49ers have. The 49ers average less than 500 for the opponents that they've faced this year. Kind of hope that I'm still with you guys on the terminology with it and that I'm not getting you guys too confused. That this is all of these teams, I put all of their records together. So that is the overall opponent record that is right here. Down there. So overall, opponents are less than 500 on average. But looking at the schedule, I can see that they have gotten the Niners beat the Cowboys and the Jaguars. Couple of questionable losses to the Vikings and Bengals. Probably should have gotten that field goal and won the game against the Browns. But again, these are all Cowboys, Jaguars, Steelers. 3 out of the 9 teams that they've faced so far are actually only 6-3, just barely above 500. But over on the Buccaneers side, they've had the Eagles, Lions, Bills, Texans, Saints. I mean, these are teams that are like 500, but that they've experienced a little bit more of a tougher road than what the 49ers had. ESPN has the 49ers favored, and Vegas also has 49ers. The over-under is 41.5, and the 49ers are favored by 12 points. Let's go back up here, and with the points per game, yeah, I definitely see this going the over. And I'm just going to put the 49ers right where their average is at 28. And we'll give 17 to the Buccaneers. Go ahead and lock that in, 28-17. 49ers beat the Buccaneers at home. Moving on to our next afternoon game, we have the New York Jets going to Buffalo to take on the Bills. The Jets, they are number 22 on NFL.com's power ranking list with a 4-5 record, 2-2 on the road, and third in the AFC East. The Bills, they are number 14 on the NFL power rankings list with a 5-5 record. They are 5-1 at home and second in the AFC East. Let's get into the numbers here. And the Jets on offense have 283.1 total yards per game, 179.2 passing yards per game, 103.9 rushing yards per game. They have scored 8 touchdowns this year. The offensive line's allowed 34 sacks, which is 30th in the league. And they're 30th in the league for sacks, quarterback rating, and points per game. 74.1 quarterback rating and 16 points per game. It's just not cutting it. The offense needs to get a little bit more production because it's a flip side of the coin of how we have offenses that are producing and the defense is struggling. The Jets have a struggling offense but a great defense, especially statistically wise. The only thing that they are struggling at on defense is people that run the ball. Turnover wise for the Jets, they have 6 interceptions and 8 fumbles. Their stat leaders are Zach Wilson, Breece Hall, and Garrett Wilson. Zach has 183 completions on 306 attempts, 1,863 yards, 5 touchdowns, and those 6 interceptions. Breece Hall has 107 carries, 521 yards, and 2 touchdowns. Garrett Wilson has 55 catches, 642 yards, and 2 touchdowns. A little bit of a lackluster year for the New York Jets on the offense. And I'm sad about it because I wanted to see what this offense would look like with Aaron Rodgers. And then, not that I'm saying that it was his fault or anything like that. I'm just talking about the fact that it was unfortunate that the first game, all of a sudden, in one of the most freakish ways possible, he ends up tearing his Achilles. It's unfortunate, and I hate to see it. It was unfortunate. Moving on, let's go over to the Bills offense. The Bills offense has 370.1 total yards per game, 253.6 passing yards per game, and 116.5 rushing yards per game. They have scored 31 touchdowns this year. Not bad. 13 sacks have been allowed. That's second in the league. 96.6 quarterback rating, 11th in the league, and 8th in the league with 26.2 points per game. Turnover-wise, though, it's a little alarming. The Bills have 11 interceptions and 7 fumbles on offense. Josh Allen needs to... 11 interceptions. You can't be in the talk of being an elite-level quarterback when you have interceptions in the double digits. But that's my opinion. Let me know how you feel about it. But... stats leaders, we got Josh Allen right here, James Cook, and Stefon Diggs. Josh Allen has 246 completions on 350 attempts, 2,600 yards, 19 touchdowns, and 11 interceptions. He's gambling. Go big or go home. James Cook has 120 carries, 615 yards, and 1 touchdown. Stefon Diggs has 73 catches, 868 yards, and 7 touchdowns. If I'm picking one of these offenses, I'm still picking the Bills, though. I'll still take Josh Allen and the Bills offense over the Jets offense any day. But moving on to the defensive side of the ball, the Jets only allow 307.8 total yards per game and 169.3 passing yards per game. Also 138.4 rushing yards per game, but that's 31st in the league. And you can see here that they are third in the league for passing yards per game and sixth overall on defense. They've only allowed 14 touchdowns this year. They're seventh in the league with 19.1 points per game allowed, fourth in the league when it comes to 76.2 quarterback rating allowed, and 25 sacks, tied for 16th in their middle of the road. Turnover-wise, they have 9 interceptions and 6 fumbles. 1 fumble has been recovered for a touchdown, and the Jets have 2 safeties. So the Jets have been doing good defensively to a point. And their turnover differential is +1. Better than the Bills, who have -3, cut due to the massive amount of turnovers on offense. Let's get into the Buffalo numbers on defense. They allow 330.6 total yards per game, 215.4 passing yards per game, and 115.2 rushing yards per game. They've allowed 18 touchdowns this year, 12 receiving and 6 rushing. They are 5th in the league with 18.4 points per game allowed, 21st in the league with 91.8 quarterback rating allowed, and 2nd in the league with 33 sacks. On defense, they have 8 interceptions and 7 fumbles. Unfortunately, like I said, that doesn't save their turnover differential, but one of those interceptions has been returned for a touchdown. It's tough to say it, but that QBR rating and the yardage definitely gains my favor for the Jets. And Josh Allen didn't do good against this defense the first time that he saw him. He was throwing the ball. He threw 4 interceptions the first week. So go ahead and use that information how you want to. And also look at this, at the fact that the Bills have had an easy schedule. That the loss to the Patriots unexcusable. Bengals unexcusable. Broncos definitely unexcusable. Jets, we all understand. I just said it. Josh Allen threw 4 interceptions. It's tough to win a game when your quarterback turns the ball over that much. Jaguars could have been one, but that was right in the middle of them being red hot and over there in England. Jets actually have had somewhat of a difficult schedule, if you want to say so. Held their own against the Eagles in that surprising win, but all these other losses, the Cowboys, Chiefs, Chargers, Raiders, Patriots, honestly, it's not really surprising. And while I'm thinking of all of this, special teams wise, the Jets also have a punt recovery for a touchdown. Their kicker is 23 for 24 on field goals and 7 for 7 on extra points. He has 8.4 points per game. The Bills kicker, Tyler Bass, he is 12 for 15 on field goals, 28 for 28 perfect on extra points. He has 6.4 points per game. So just an extra game added onto it. Injury-wise, Dwayne Brown, Kenny Yeboah, they're both on IR. Sam Eguavoen, he is ruled out. Will McDonald and Michael Carter are questionable for the Jets. On the Bills side, Matt Milano and Daquan Jones are both on IR still. And Jordan Phillips and Trent Sherfield are questionable. ESPN has the Bills favored, and so does Vegas. The over-under is 39.5, and the Bills are favored by 7 points. But I feel like this one might be one of those sneaky ones, and I feel like Josh Allen didn't solve his problems and runs into the same issues that he did week 1 against the Jets. So I don't see them getting up to that points per game total. Over-under's 39.5. So I feel like they get over that at least. I'm going to give the Jets 24. Let's give the Buffalo Bills 17. Go ahead and lock that in. 24-17, the Jets upset the Bills again. And I don't even know if that's technically an upset at this point. But that would also mean that the Jets take over second place in the AFC East. But yeah, I feel like the Jets could just run their same game plan that they did week 1, and Josh Allen's going to make the same mistakes that he did. I don't mean to dog on the guy, but he is very inconsistent, and he has cost some he has lost the plot on very key moments in football games. So yeah, moving on to the next one, we've got an NFC West battle. We have the Seattle Seahawks going to the Los Angeles Rams. This is our last afternoon game, but we still have one more game left after this. We got to go over the Sunday night football game for you guys. But let's focus on this game first. The Seattle Seahawks, they are number 11 on the NFL.com power rankings list. They are with a 6-3 record and 2-2 on the road. They are also second in the NFC West. Get your words together. The Rams are number 27th on the NFL.com power rankings list with a 3-6 record. They are 1-3 at home and third in the NFC West. So the Seahawks on offense, they have 300. Let me back up. All right. So on offense, the Seahawks have 331.4 total yards per game, 231.7 passing yards per game, and 99.8 rushing yards per game. They have 18 touchdowns this year, 11 receiving and 7 rushing. The offensive line has only allowed 19 sacks. They have an 88.9 quarterback rating and 22.2 points per game. Turnover-wise, the Seahawks gave up 7 interceptions and 3 fumbles. In their stat leaders, we got Geno Smith, Kenneth Walker III, and DK Metcalf. Geno has 196 completions on 300 attempts, 2,171 yards, 11 touchdowns, and 7 interceptions. Kenneth Walker has 145 carries, 595 yards, and 6 touchdowns. DK Metcalf has 35 catches, 552 yards, and 2 touchdowns. Going over to the Rams offense. The Rams offense has 335.9 total yards per game, 231 passing yards per game, and 104.9 rushing yards per game. They have scored 17 touchdowns this year, 8 receiving and 9 rushing, and the offensive line has only allowed 21 sacks. They have a quarterback rating of 78.1 and only have 19.8 points per game. The Rams also gave up 8 interceptions and 2 fumbles, so a little bit of adjustment, but same total as the Seahawks. So both these teams have the same amount of turnovers on offense. Stat leaders for the Rams, we got Matt Stafford, Kyren Williams, and Puka Nacua, the rookie sensation. Stafford has 166 completions over 278 attempts, 2,070 yards, 8 touchdowns, and those 7 interceptions. Kyren Williams has 97 carries, 456 yards, and 6 touchdowns. The rookie sensation Puka Nacua, he has 64 catches, 827 yards, and 2 touchdowns. If I'd have to pick an offense, though, I'm going with the Seattle Seahawks. The QBR has been better for Geno Smith. The yardage looks better for the passing game. Points per game. Less interceptions for Geno. I'm going with the Seahawks for their offense over the Rams. On the defensive side of the ball, the Seahawks allow 354.3 total yards per game, 238.3 passing yards per game, and 116 rushing yards per game. They have allowed 22 touchdowns and 22.3 points per game have been allowed this year, which is 20th in the league. 90.4 is the quarterback rating allowed, and 30 sacks for the Seahawks defense, which is tied for 5th in the league. Turnover-wise, they have 6 interceptions and 7 fumbles. 2 of those interceptions have been returned for touchdowns. Going over to the Rams, they allow 340 total yards per game, 217.2 passing yards per game, and 122.8 rushing yards per game. They have allowed 19 touchdowns this year, 9 receiving, and 10 rushing. They're 22nd with 22.7 points per game allowed, and 15th in the league with an 88.6 quarterback rating allowed. They only have 19 sacks, which is 25th in the league, and 4 interceptions and 4 fumbles. No defensive touchdowns for the Rams. No special teams touchdowns either for either of these teams. But the Seahawks kicker, Jake Myers, he's 24 for 20 on 24 field goals, 18 for 18, perfect on extra points. There's another mistake. Number 3. There's a number 3. Forgot to put the percentages in there for you guys. Well, at least you know 100% there. Jake Myers has 8.7 points per game off of his foot. Over on the Rams side, we got their kicker that's 20 for 27 on field goals and 12 for 13 on 8 extra points. He has 8 points per game. Let's get down here to the schedule. Seahawks have had one of the easier schedules in the league. The only teams they face that's over 500 so far, Lions, Ravens, and Browns. They did get the win against the Browns, though. Unfortunately, took a loss to the Ravens. Going over to the Rams side, they actually had a somewhat difficult schedule. Seahawks, 49ers, Eagles, Cowboys, Steelers, Colts. So it's understandable that the Rams are in the boat that they're in with 3-6. Damn near 60% for a winning percentage that they got for their opponents against them. So definitely been a tough road for them. Not going to get any easier facing the Seahawks. Injury-wise, we got Abraham Lucas that is on IR. Derek Young is out. Jamal Adams, Trey Brown, and Tyler Lockett are questionable for the Seahawks. Over on the Rams side, we got Bobby Brown III and Kobe Durant, which are both questionable for tomorrow's afternoon game. Or today's. For today's afternoon game. All right, just double checking to make sure that I got what I needed. ESPN has the Rams winning, and Vegas also has the Rams favored. The over-under is 46.5, and the Rams are favored by just 1 point. This is another one that I'm going to go against Vegas and ESPN, technically. But, yeah, I feel like the Seahawks are going to take this one. Just got a gut feeling. It's going to be a close one, so it's going to be down to the wire. I'd actually say that's just the 1 point in favor of the Rams. I'm going to give the 1 point to the fucking Seahawks. We're going to go 21-20. Go ahead and give the Seahawks 21, Rams 20. Lock that in, 21-20. Very close when the Seahawks get on the road against the Rams. On to our final game for this video. There's still going to be one more video. Make sure that you keep an eye out for that Monday Night Football video. I will be releasing that some point this evening on Sunday. But we got the Minnesota Vikings that are going to Denver to take on the Broncos. The Vikings, number 15 on the NFL.com power rankings list with a 6-4 record. They are 4-1 on the road and second in the NFC North, with a great surgence of picking up Josh Dobbs, and he didn't even know the receivers' names, but still was getting touchdowns. Denver Broncos, they are number 20 on the NFL.com power rankings list with a 4-5 record, 2-3 at home, and last in the AFC West. Getting into the numbers here, the Vikings on offense have 358.1 total yards per game, 272 passing yards per game, and 85.7 rushing yards per game. They have scored 25 touchdowns, 21 receiving, and 4 rushing. They have 103.6 quarterback rating, which is 4th in the league, and 23.3 points per game. Turnover-wise, they've been fumbling the ball a lot. They have 12 fumbles and 5 interceptions. And like I said, Josh Dobbs is in Minnesota for the injured Kirk Cousins, and he's doing amazing. Josh Dobbs, Matheson, and Hawkinson are the stat leaders for the Vikings offense, and Dobbs has 43 completions on 64 attempts, 426 yards, and 3 touchdowns. No interceptions in Minnesota yet. Love to see it. Matheson, he's got 130 carries for 461 yards. Still has yet to reach the end zone on a rushing play. And we are 10 games in. I thought Matheson was going to have it. And that was one of the biggest swing and misses on fantasy football that I've had in a long time. We're going on. TJ Hawkinson, he's got 71 catches, 681 yards, and 4 touchdowns. Moving over to the Broncos offense. They have 301.9 total yards per game, 184.6 passing yards per game, and 117.3 rushing yards per game. They have 19 touchdowns scored this year, 18 receiving, and only 1 rushing touchdown. That is the worst in the league. No other team only has 1 rushing touchdown. They've allowed 30 sacks on offense. They're 3rd in the league, though, with 104 QBR, and tied for 15th in the league with 21.8 points per game. Turnovers are a little bit better than the Vikings. They've got 4 interceptions and 9 fumbles. Their stat leaders, we've got Russell Wilson, Jamal Williams, and Courtland Sutton. Or no, that's Javonte Williams. Sorry, guys. That's not Naruto. Jamal is Naruto. Naruto is not on the Broncos. But Russell Wilson, he's 178 completions on 262 attempts, 1,806 yards, 18 touchdowns, and only 4 interceptions. I love that touchdown to interception ratio. If they could just have the rest of the team get behind him or support him, just something, just figure it out. And because just I've heard Broncos fans even tell me that Russell Wilson's bad when he's not. But Javonte has 111 carries for 436 yards. He doesn't have a touchdown either. Courtland Sutton has 41 catches, 433 yards, and 7 touchdowns. Moving on, let's get to the defense. Hold up. Before that, picking an offense, we're going to go with the Vikings just because of the fact Dobbs is red hot, and I feel like he's just going to keep on going. Vikings actually stand a chance now in the NFC North. It's crazy. Let's go Bears. Just kidding. But maybe. I don't know. But on defense for the Vikings, they allow 323.2 total yards per game, 224.4 passing yards per game, and 98.8 rushing yards per game. They've allowed 21 touchdowns this year, 14 receiving and 7 rushing. They are 14th in the league with 20.9 points per game allowed. 18th in the league with 90.9 quarterback rating allowed, and tied for 11th in the league with 27 sacks. They have 9 interceptions and 5 fumbles, and 2 of those fumbles have been taken back for touchdowns. Over on Denver's side, they allow 401.8 total yards per game, 243.4 passing yards per game, and allow 158.3 rushing yards per game. Worst in the league when it comes to stopping the run. And it hinders their whole entire defense. And it is showing in the record books that this defense is the reason why the Broncos are losing games. They've allowed 27 touchdowns, 17 receiving, and 10 rushing. They are worst in the league with 27.6 points per game allowed, worst in the league with 102.1 quarterback rating allowed, and tied for 29th with only 17 sacks. They have 9 interceptions and 7 fumbles, and only 1 fumble has been recovered for a touchdown in Denver. So, it's just god-awful defense on the Broncos side, and they haven't been playing anybody that's necessarily tough. I know that they're in the Chiefs division. Good thing that Pat Mahomes was sick that one day, and the Broncos ended up getting lucky with the win there. Over on the Vikings side, we've got about the same story, sub 500 opponent record. Lost to the Eagles, lost to the Chiefs. They are on a 5-game winning streak right now, though. So, we'll see where this goes, and I feel like Josh Dobbs is going to continue this. It's going to be another one that I disagree with Vegas, but at least ESPN's got the Vikings. Injury-wise, we got these flip-flopped again. For the Vikings, mistake number 4. The Vikings have Justin Jefferson on IR, Caleb Evans, TJ Hawkinson, Jaren Hall, and Alexander Matheson are all questionable. And then if you look over on the Vikings side, you have the Broncos injuries, and we got Jerry Jeudy, Ben Powers, and PJ Loke that are questionable for today's game. ESPN has the Vikings favored. Vegas has the Broncos favored. The over-under is 42.5, and the Broncos are favored by 2.5 points in Vegas. But I'm going with ESPN. Josh Dobbs is going to continue his greatness. I feel like they're going to be right there where their points per game are, and they're actually going to stifle the Broncos just a little bit. I like the points per game allowed being that low. I know that they've allowed a high QBR, and Russell Wilson has been doing good. I don't know. I just have a sneaky feeling that Russell Wilson is going to be in trouble today. And tonight, per se, this is the Sunday night football game. Yeah. Broncos also have 1 kickoff return touchdown. Yeah, I'm taking the Vikings. 24 points for the Vikings. 17 to the Broncos. And that hits the under. That's the under. 24-17. Lock that in. 24-17 Vikings win Sunday night football on the road against the Broncos. There we go. And that is it for the Sunday games. Again, like I said, there's going to be one more video coming out for the Monday night football game. I'm doing that. I'm going to do that separately like I do Thursday night football and the international games. That's still going to stay the same, but the format for the format's going to stay the same. And it's just I do the noon games as part 1 for a big video, and then I do the afternoon and Sunday night football game all on one and keep Thursday night and Monday night football as their own little videos. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. If you did enjoy the video, hit that like button. Explore the other content on my channel. And if you enjoy it, hit the subscribe button. Become part of the Beansworthy Entertainment family. And for those that are already part of the Beansworthy Entertainment family, thank you. I love and appreciate all of you. You guys have no idea what the support means to me. It's just so great. And I appreciate every single little bit of it. Be kind and respectful to others, and most of all, be kind and respectful to yourself. You are the number one person in this world. Nobody matters more than you do. Thank you, guys, and I'll see you next time.